Today we are working on this beautiful Italian seascape or landscape. Um, Whenever I start a painting like this, the first thing I do is always pick out my colors. These are the color choices I've made. Pyrrole orange, this is pyrrole orange, bicore, terra rosa, quin burnt orange to get these gorgeous terracotta-y kind of beautiful stucco fresco colors. The sky and the sea will be the cerulean, maybe with a little turquoise added. This around here, Potter's Pink, Artemis, and Warm Gray by Sennelier. In the trees, we're going to use Jadeite by Daniel Smith, Leaf Green by Da Vinci, and Greenish Umber by Sennelier. And that's the Warm Gray by Sennelier. So those are the colors we're going to be using. The first thing I do is a sketch to determine my values. That's very important to know the lightest lights, the darkest darks, and the mid-tones. And then after that, well, before that actually, I print out a black and white. That's what I do my value study and sketch from. So I have the black and white. I paint from the black and white photo. I keep the actual photograph to the side for reference, but I've discovered if I watch too closely to that actual photograph, I tend to reproduce it exactly and it loses spontaneity. So we're going to try and do it with this in this way. I've sketched it out here and traced it off because it is architecture and I want to be precise. And then I've added my masking fluid where the lights are, just to save them and make my life easier. So I think the first thing we'll do is we'll start with the cerulean and identify the sky and where the sky is. I need to take this wall on up, I think. Important to not make it look like an absolute rendering, but to be precise with your lines, to be sure that they're straight. And you've always got to remember perspective. This is all going back to a vanishing point somewhere around in here. So you can see that it all leads to that vanishing point. And if you pay attention to that when you're doing your drawing, then you're more likely to get accurate perspective. Your horizon line is right here. You'll see as it goes along. I will post the actual photograph on the video so you can watch it while we're painting. These are geraniums. We're going to put those in. So I'm not going to do this fancy rug. I just made it a simple tile entryway. So we're going to do it that way. So I've still got to draw this in. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is to drop in a nice light cerulean blue in the sky, coming right up to the building, nice and wet. This paper I'm painting on is Saunders Waterford Rough. I'm going to come down here into this up here some, so we have some sky that peeks through here. Very loose wash. This is a Zero Raphael soft aqua brush, my favorite brush for putting in loose washes. Then when we get down here, I'm going to add a little bit of cobalt teal just to slightly change the color of the water. We want some of that to peek through here. We're going to wash this out over here, keep it soft. Then we're going to do the same thing right here. In this window, we have the tiniest bit of sky. And then the same ocean in there. And I'm actually, because this plant's going to be dark, I'm actually going to paint right through there. A little bit more teal in there. And got up to here just to show the water. Separation between the water and the sky. Put some of that in. There is a reflection of the actual window right here. You can see it right here. So I'm going to put that in. Kind of lines up right here. On that floor, I don't know what color we're going to do the floor yet, so we're just going to keep that soft right now. The key to being a better artist is to be able to see better what you are trying to paint. So you have to develop that eye. It's really important to get that eye developed. All right, that's it for the sky and the sea right now. So we're gonna let that dry. The wall itself is actually an off-white, but we're not gonna try that right now because this is too wet. So I think maybe we'll go ahead and lay in some of the terracotta here. Define that. This is basically, with these underwashes, we're just setting the stage and helping us to find our way later. So that combination was this hot pyrrole orange. Can you see that? You cannot see where I'm mixing, so let me zoom out a little bit so you can see the colors I mix. Okay, so that's that hot pyrrole orange. This is terracotta, which is a very opaque color. So that's why we're mixing it with the orange, to try to get more of an orangey, lighter color. Test your colors before you put them on your painting. Makes your life much easier. So all you need is a scrap piece of paper, and that's good for that, but it needs to be lighter for this wall over here. So what we're going to do is do this initial wash on this wall right here, and then wash it out over here. So let's just lay down something. Remember, this is a stucco wall, so there's going to be texture in it. Doesn't have to be perfect. We do want to paint around this lantern. Remember, this is just our first wash. Keeping a wet edge there. Let's keep that wet. You know it starts getting much darker down here. Because I've masked out that I can go ahead and do it that way. Let's clean that edge up. We know this is all going to be the terracotta here. Much darker down here. There. Here. This is a wall right here. It's very dark. This is a beautiful combination right here that I have not used before. Let's straighten that edge up a little bit. Let's put a little edge over here. There is a slight there and this. So now we'll just wash this out. Pull out our brush and just lightly put that in. Lightly put this in. So we have a nice transition there. Very light for right now. Over here as well. The terracotta pot. So as much of this as you can unify initially, that will really help you. I'm going to go in here behind some of this foliage just to indicate that there's a wall back here. And let's wash that down with a lot of water. Get this edge here. There. Take that on down, loosen that line right there. Put some texture in this wall. Soften that, soften that. Come back down here. We got a bleed back there for some reason. Here and just add some texture. Let's take most of the moisture out of our brush and just dry brush this to give some texture to this wall. Over here as well. We'll be doing another layer of this as well, so. All right, so that's our initial wash on that. These are the traditional Italian dark green doors. So we can start putting a little bit of that in there just to do an underpainting of that, to show us that that's that door right there. And over here. Try to keep those lines as straight as you can. Okay. So now that I've got that dark, I think I'm going to lay in the lights here first and then do the darks later. I need to get this, but that's going to be the same color as this. So I need to get that warm gray in there on that. I need a smaller brush for that. So here's a Princeton long round number 8. Let's try that. And I'm going to go ahead and drop in some color here just to remind me. We'll clean that edge up later. Just to remind me that this is all going to be very soft. There. think we're going to do the floor this color as well. This is a stairwell right here that we're going to build. And I think we're just going to do a very soft, very little bit of that, just ever so softly as our wall color. And put a little of that up in here to reflect the glass. And I'm going to use a little bit of that on top of this just to give some reflection to these areas that are kind of standing up here. Thinking I need to go ahead in here and just put in some background color for this wall so we know that that is part of the wall. Window is off a little bit there. I'm going to have to correct that. This wall is going to be a little darker under here. Terracotta pot. It's going to be much brighter color here. Just reminding us it's there. Okay, we're going to let this dry. And then we'll start working on this foliage right here.